Max was walking on the beach on a sunny day. Today was his fishing trip. He couldn't wait to get away. He strode down the boardwalk to meet his friend at the dock. His friend Danny was preparing the boat to ensure that the vessel would float. Max greeted Danny with the wave of his hand. Danny waved back, ready to leave the land. Max put on his life jacket while boarding the yacht. Danny, meanwhile, untied the knot. Then he started the motor with the turn of the key. Now it was time to fish out on the big blue sea. To show off his boat, Danny went faster. When it came to watercraft, he thought he was the master. He drove to the left and he drove to the right. Max meanwhile held on for dear life. The boat took a turn that was way too swift. Max fell into the ocean. Now he was adrift. Danny then realized his mistake. He slowed down the boat with the push of the brake. Meanwhile, Max was yelling for help. Then he saw a sight that caused him to yelp. A great big shark was circling the poor lad. The situation was getting pretty bad. Danny zoomed closer to rescue his friend, but he feared that this was the end. The shark swam round and round his prey. Max desperately wanted to see another day. Just in time, Danny scared off the threat. Max climbed into the boat. He was soaking wet. To make amends, Danny gave Max the wheel. Max thought that this was a fair deal. Max took the boat further from the shore. They had a vast ocean to explore. The boat finally came to a halting stop. Max then lowered the anchor with a great plop, and Danny grabbed the poles and the fishing bait. Now they'd sit and fish and wait. Danny was the first to have a bite. The fish put up such a major fight, he reeled in the line as excited as could be. This was fish number 1 for Max and Danny. Meanwhile, Max waited for his catch. He was hoping to pull in a really big batch. He felt a tug on the end of his line. He reeled it in only to find on the end of his hook was an old tire. "Where did that come from?" he inquired. He cast his line back in a second time. Danny, however, was on fish number 9. Max felt another tug and began to reel. He was so excited he couldn't sit still. But to his dismay, it wasn't a fish. It was a lobster. That wasn't his wish. The lobster broke free and started to pinch. Max threw it overboard, but not without a flinch. Frustrated now, he tried it again. However, Danny was on fish number 10. Max waited and waited to reel in his prize. He hoped for a fish the largest in size. Finally, his line began to move all around. He was so nervous, his heart began to pound. He could see the fish now just under the sea, but a shark came up and eyed the fish with glee. The shark opened its jaws, large and wide. It gobbled the fish right before Max's eyes. Max held onto his pole with all his might. The shark snapped the line and swam out of sight. Max was angry, but wanted another go. The score between Danny and he was 14-0. After a while, his line went taut. Perhaps now he found the magic spot, but once again he reeled in a fish, and again he was filled with anguish. An octopus came up from the bottom of the sea. Max dreaded that this was the finale. He grabbed the fish and pulled on the line. Max knew the creature's design. The creature with the fish swam out of sight. Max was furious at his horrible plight. He threw in his line, again once more. He would not let 0 be his final score. After a while, he felt a great weight. Whatever it was had taken the bait. Max brought in the catch as fast as he could, just in case something ate his fish for food. Only it was no fish. It was instead a great chest. Max was exhausted and needed a rest. But he finished bringing in his catch instead. Could it be a treasure from the seabed? Once the box was in the boat, they both decided to go. Danny pulled out the anchor, and Max drove them home. After a while, they arrived at the docks. They tied up the boat and unloaded the box. After a few minutes, they opened the lock. They opened the lid, and both were in shock. Neither one could believe his eyes. Gold and jewels? That was their prize. An old fisherman saw the whole thing. He offered the friends to capture the scene. Max and Danny then gave the man some treasure. The fisherman thanked them from beyond all measure. Despite the hardships of their day at sea, the two friends went to their homes, as happy as could be.